Welcome to Damsels in Dialogue, a podcast dedicated to the female protagonists in fiction, film, and the stage. Co-hosted by Katie Zetter
and India Marie Paul. Here at Damsels in Dialogue, we support the LGBTQ plus community and all women because trans women are women.
For our second season, we have wands at the ready, and we'll be discussing the women of the wizarding world. This episode, we will discuss the students who wander the corridors of Hogwarts and endure the chaos brought upon its grand halls. All right, so every episode we are sponsored by a different magical merch shop, and we encourage you to support small businesses and those who are inclusive in the community. So this week's sponsor is Orchard Works. Now, Orchard Works has been in the business for 10 years. They are a wand shop, carved wooden wands. They do have an Etsy shop, but you can also find them at their relatively new storefront.
It's so pretty.
They are coming up on their 1-year anniversary of having the storefront, Orchard Works. So you can find their storefront at 13 Furnace Ave in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Or if you'd like to do their shop, it's orchardworksconnecticut.com, spelled orchardworksct.com. You can also find them on TikTok and Instagram. But they make beautiful wands. They are women-owned and run, and most of the employees are women as well, which I thought was a perfect addition to this episode where we are discussing so many women.
So many. It's going to be kind of a rapid fire sometimes episode because we want to cover as many students as we can. And there are actually quite a lot of them that are named in the novels that you really miss in the movie. There's a lot of things that they changed and cut and moved, and you kind of really don't get a lot of the personalities in the movies the same way you get in the novels. So I'm really excited to discuss it because I got to meet a lot of them for the first time rereading the last couple books. And it's really sad what happens. We got mad about what happens to Jenny in the movies. And there are also a lot of things to be upset about that they cut or change in the movies as well, because you only have so much time. But
understandable.
But we are going to start. So being the newbie to the Hogwarts fandom of the two of us, I looked up what the actual UK system was like, because as an American, the school system, because as an American, the idea of going on a train off to boarding school is so foreign to us. It turns out it's really not a foreign idea at all. Like, it's just what happens over in many European countries, because there are a lot of boarding school options in the UK. It can be very elitist. There's beautiful architecture and very old historic traditions with these boarding schools. And there are houses that you get not sorted into, but just moved into for convenience of grouping
splitting
students
up
and moving them to classes. There's prefects, like there's a lot of similarities. And I believe the author was a school teacher at one point. So this completely makes sense for creating this magical school. And the only thing magical really about it is the sorting hat aspect of it. That was really fascinating to me to confirm. I knew people went to boarding school in Europe, but it was how similar it was a little surprising to me. And even the exams, how there's the O level that you take, and then if you want to go to the next level, you take a couple years, and then there's another level. So the owls and the newts are extremely based on reality of the school systems over there. So as I wanted to confirm it,
of course.
As I was doing research for this, and I'm like, oh, this is just the same. They're just a little more magical in its use.
It seems so whimsical for, people who are not accustomed to that culture,
Yeah, the idea of not being home for the majority of the year and at a school, similar to like our college experience, is so odd and interesting culture for students to be in.
Yeah, be like fully submersed.
Yeah. You're with your peers. You don't have parents to talk to every day. Like that's such an interesting way of life.
Yeah, and we do have boarding schools here, but they're definitely not as prevalent as they are in the UK. Now, one of the differences Andy had mentioned was the sorting itself and how they are sorted. So we wanted to dive into each group of ladies, starting by their houses. So we're going to start with the Hufflepuff house. Now, Hufflepuff was founded by Helga, and there's a couple different things that you can find about what students she accepted into Hufflepuff. there are some counts of her specifically wanting the kind and loyal. And then there are other accounts, and these are all like in the books. It's like teased different times of like she'll just take anyone, like,
yeah.
Anyone and everyone.
I love it,
and we love that for her.
Yeah.
Hufflepuffs are known for their herbology skills, their hospitality, and tend to be more modest than their peers. And some of the more notable Hufflepuffs that we won't necessarily be getting into is Newt Scamander is one of the most popular.
We love our Hufflepuffs. Like I do love the idea that when they mentioned that she thought all students should be taught, so she would take, because the other founders are like, well, we only want these
specific
people.
things.
Yeah, I like that idea that she was like, well, they still need to be taught. So
right.
Come here.
No, we love that for her. So the Hufflepuffs, unfortunately, there's really not a whole lot about them in the books. It is notoriously the only common room that we don't know what it looks like. We have never been in the books nor the movies.
And it's got to be like the coziest, right? It's got to be
it's
full
right by
of
the kitchens.
Yeah.
It's like right next to the kitchens. Come on. You're telling me they don't have the best snacks?
The best snacks. They've got to be covered in blankets and comfy chairs. Like I want to see it just to exist there for a little bit.
Right. But yeah, so one thing that I just want to get out of the way real quick, because I was like, and I reread it and I'm like, no, this sounds really The Patil twins in the sorting in book 1 are sorted into Gryffindor and Hufflepuff.
No. Wait, so they've been messed up multiple times in this fandom?
I had to read it a couple times, and it insinuates. It doesn't say directly, which is why I give it the question mark. But it's like, what? Bavardi, at least, they keep consistent on it.
Yeah, but poor Padma just gets tossed in all of the places.
Yeah, right? Gosh, that's the only inconsistency in the books, luckily. But yeah, that was a weird
funny.
But there are a couple of students that we see throughout the whole thing, and a couple of students that are just thrown in because we need them. For extra things. So I'll say a couple named ones, and then Indy, I want you to say your favorite random Hufflepuff.
Yes.
But some of the ones that are just thrown in to have all their names and keep the world well-rounded. In book 4, when they have just seen the younger creepy boy soaking wet, so thrilled he fell into the lake, and he gets sorted into Gryffindor. And you do see 2 other young Hufflepuffs, Eleanor Branstone and Laura Madley, being sorted into Hufflepuff as well. You also get a random mention in book 5 of Rose Zeller, who's in Hufflepuff. Good for you.
Yeah, good for you. I was like, Rose Zeller. Well done.
We're proud of you. But yeah, so which one is your favorite?
My favorite, the only thing I've written down is Mystery Hufflepuff, and I just want to know who it is. Maybe it's Rose Zeller. We don't really, but she's the first year after that. So it can't be Rose Zeller, but we're going to find her at some point. She just, in book 4, she comes up to Harry Potter, the famous Harry Potter, and asks him to the Yule Ball. And this is a 3rd year, so she can't even go. So not only is she approaching one of the most famous students at the school, she just flat out asks him to the Yule Ball. And I thought she was real bold. And I'm going
to get to that Yule Ball.
Yeah, she's just so bold. I could have asked any other 4th year to try and get in. And
not one of the Triwizard competitors.
Goes for a Triwizard champion and Harry Potter. So I just wanted to give her props because Mystery Hufflepuff in book 4 is really bold. And I appreciate her.
Get it, girl.
Yeah.
I love it.
We do have a couple other more prominent ones.
Yes. Which one of our two more prominent Hufflepuff ladies do you want to chat about first?
Let's chat about Miss Hannah. Miss Hannah Abbott.
Hannah Abbott, yes.
I like her. We get a lot of her in herbology with them in class. So we get a lot of talk about her. She's friends with Ernie. So usually you see them chit-chatting. I wrote a lot of gossiping from her, where we just get little tidbits around the school.
Yes, and that's a lot of which is really sweet. You have her questioning Ernie about when Ernie's gossiping about Harry, and she's like, but he seems really nice. What do you mean? Which I thought that was important, that she first called out that he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then was like, he also defeated Voldemort. So why do you think he's there? So then,
yeah,
the fact that him being a nice person was more important to her to mention. which was cool. And it took a lot of guts for her to walk with Ernie to like apologize later and be like, hey, I'm sorry.
And that's interesting because she is mentioned so much as being the one gossiping about something, or she like gossips about Eloise Midget. Like there are different things she gossips about. And then for her to not take gossip as truth and to judge Harry for what she's seen of him, because they go to class together. So I think that's actually kind of interesting and telling about her.
Oh, absolutely. And with her more like wanting to be in the know and chatting about the school, her being shocked. Like she was so dead set on, well, it's not Harry, it must be Malfoy. And when he's like, no, she's like described as being shocked. Yeah. that's not, she had already jumped ship. She was already there. She was already moving. Yeah.
Loyal.
To the next spot.
You got the loyal Hufflepuff ready to go.
She's already moved on. Like, it must be Malfoy. And her ridiculous theory that, I mean, it wasn't, I say ridiculous, but it really wasn't that ridiculous, that her theory for Black being able to get around was that he could turn into a shrub. And that is why
of all the things to turn
like he could do it. But the word, like the best part of that is like she's not wrong.
Well, that's what she's
like
so
he
close.
can in fact turn into something, which is why nobody sees him. Yeah. And he can get away with so much. So I love that we were given just like she's almost there.
Yeah, she's so close to being right, but she is so wrong.
Yeah, super wrong. So close.
Yeah.
So close.
That's fun. I enjoy that was a fun random
like a fun little moment of like, hey, she's still here. Being silly.
Yeah. I love that she swapped chocolate frogs with Ernie at the Three Broomsticks. Like, I think that's really cute that they have them trading cards. Like, it's
right. That they have like very much also, which I think is cool because you don't see a lot of male-female friendships a whole ton in this. You see Hermione, and that's it. Because even when you look at the Quidditch team, they enjoy Fred and George and the guys, but it's usually they have their own girlfriends. Yeah. So I think it's very cool that Hannah and Ernie are truly friends, and they don't read to me as dating.
No, I never.
They read very much like platonic buds.
Yeah, well, I love
which is nice to see.
I love a good platonic relationship.
Like, and it's not just Hermione. We can all be friends with boys. It's fine.
Yeah. It just, and they pop up like every once in a while, just those two. In the series, she was chosen as a prefect. Yeah. I was so proud of her. That was really cool.
Her and Ernie. Like it, I'm like, BFFs continuing the line.
Yep. And she ends up as a member of the DA. So she really kind of she's a part of like the core students that follow Harry.
Yeah. Once she's turned over to Harry, she is tied with Ernie a little bit, but both of them together, like once they are convinced of Harry, they are quite loyal to him. Yeah. Very true to their Hufflepuff name, which is cool because there are moments where it could be questioned, and both her and the other lady we'll get to next are very loyal to him, which is cool.
Yeah, like she's among the group that helps Harry when Crabbe and Goyle are attacking him on the train at the end of book 5. She's described a couple times as being frantic about owls in book 5.
She's so nervous. Oh my gosh, her in the library with like too many books. And it's like, and they set it up at the beginning where like Fred and George mention the girl who lost it the year that they did out OWLs. Yeah. And then like,
it's gonna be her.
This year it's Hannah.
Yeah, and I think she's described she has trouble in her transfiguration exam, and I'm like, no, Hannah,
poor thing. You can do it.
She goes through some stuff. Like, that's a big thing to go through.
She loses her mom. It is presumed that she dies in the book and is taken away from the school and is not returned that year. Yeah. You don't see her again after that. However, after losing her mom, assumed losing her mom to Death Eaters, she comes back to Hogwarts to fight in the Battle of Hogwarts.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that says a lot to her loyalty and her bravery.
Yeah, to even come back. Like, you don't after Owls, you don't have to come back to school. So for her to even come back after losing her mom in the midst of the chaos that is the world when Voldemort comes back, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, she didn't have to be there. And she still came back. After the mom was what we presume is killed, they could have left. Good for her.
Do we get any post-series stuff about Hannah?
Yes. She ends up marrying Neville Longbottom and she works at the Leaky Cauldron. She runs it.
I like that for her.
Yeah. Which that makes sense to me. I love that she's working. She's also, she reads to me very like could become similar to like Madame Rosmerta.
Yeah.
Like I could see her being that woman because she kind of likes the gossip. She likes to be in the know, but she also doesn't take it for fact. Like I could see her being that barkeep that people, she's so open and sweet that they just like
give her
too much information.
Yeah, for sure. She turns into that.
Yeah. So, she becomes the landlady of the cauldron. Yeah. So I think it makes
that's cool.
It makes sense. That is not in the books, but that's more of a cursed child thing later.
I think it's a great person for Neville to end up with. They've been through a lot together.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. So that is with our Hannah Abbott, and then the other half of our bigger players is Susan Bones. Susan Bones is also in their year, and she has a little bit. What's interesting to me is Susan Bones has almost more history than she does actual activities herself.
Yeah, her character development isn't so much as the connection she has to the narrative of the story. Is it her aunt? Is Amelia Bones?
Yeah, her great aunt is Amelia Bones, and she also, her family was killed by Voldemort because they were in the Order.
Yeah.
The first time around.
Yes.
Edgar Bones.
Yes.
Was her relative that had passed. She has a big history of connection and up in the wizarding world. They slowly drop her in here and there, but it's really later in the books where she becomes more important. And this is something they did give to Luna in the movies.
Yeah.
Which I understand. In the books, she is the one who is like, no, can't you produce a Patronus? And is very avid about it. She's like, my aunt said she believes you, so like, same.
She was a very key moment in the Hogshead initial DA meeting because there was a lot of, I'm not sure about this, we could get in trouble, and then should Harry really be the one teaching us? And then she comes out with, you can produce a full Patronus, right? And kind of takes that next step into the DA meeting going well. So she plays a big part in it, and her belief in him and having the connection with her aunt going over the trial, which is really kind of blown over in the movies too, because Amelia Bones is the head of that trial.
Who then later gets killed.
Yes. It's like a whole thing.
Because she's so, Amelia is such a strong woman. I mean, she fights Fudge.
Yeah.
In that meeting. Like so they see her immediately as a threat and kill her for it. And yet Susan Bones is still doing it. Still there, still fighting. So
which
is very cool.
Yeah. She seems like a very independent and strong character. You just don't get a lot of her personality in the books. It's more of her just being part of the DA and being a support.
Yes.
Yeah, she didn't have a lot of like post-novel stuff. She just is a great support for the DA. I believe she's in the final battle. She loses her aunt, Amelia, during
And her aunt is one of the few people who was presumably, hers is presumed, killed by Voldemort himself.
Yes.
Is how threatened they were by her aunt.
Yeah. And that was one of the first targets after the escape of the Death Eaters. Like it was a very, very big bullseye on her family.
Yeah.
And for her to come back, because she comes back the next year and
to get splinched.
Yep. She gets splinched. So like, oh yeah, Susan's here. So we're going to give her another trauma.
Yeah. Can't forget about her.
And fights in it.
Yeah.
And she's a great example of a Hufflepuff. I wish we got a little bit more about her in the books.
I know, because it's so interesting to have that history with the Order of the Phoenix. Like her family, she has family killed in both wars. Amelia's killed in the second. Her uncle's killed in the first. And like her uncle being part of the Order of the Phoenix, maybe they didn't tell her.
Does she know about the Order?
But like she may not know. But that could have been such a like interesting thing that they also were there with the Potters and
to connect,
all of that.
Yeah, to have other houses also connect to the Order, because we get mainly Gryffindors for the students' like parents that were in the old Order. We really get to meet like Neville and Harry, and she's one of the few from other houses that we know of for sure. So that would have been cool to kind of connect, being like, we know about the Order.
Right.
Yeah.
But
there's only so many pages. Like, it's not about Susan Bones. But
we get it.
Yeah.
But it just was interesting. It was an interesting character that I wish we knew more about. And it wasn't just her family history. But yeah. So, but I believe that is the wrap up of our Hufflepuffs.
Yes. So next up we have Ravenclaw.
So Ravenclaw was founded by Rowena Ravenclaw, and to create a home for clever students. They were always thirsting for knowledge. So Ravenclaws value originality and knowledge. And they also, which I think is commonly forgotten, they're also known for the creative house. They are the artistic house, which I think is often blown over because you're just like, they're smart.
Yeah, that is
but
interesting.
Creativity is one of the things that is about Ravenclaws, which you can really tell with their passwords. Their passwords are not actual passwords. It is a creative but also intelligent, essentially pop quiz.
It's like you get a riddle or a questionnaire, but how you answer it doesn't have to be just a multiple choice like question mark.
Right.
Like it can be artistically done, and the door's like, cool, come on in.
Yeah.
Man, how frustrating. If you just have a really bad day though, and you come up to the door and
you
just
literally can't get in until somebody else lets you in.
So frustrating. Oh, that'd be so upsetting.
That is such an art school thing though.
That is very true.
Now some more famous and notable Ravenclaws is Gilderoy Lockhart is a Ravenclaw.
Oh yes.
Ollivander is a Ravenclaw. And so is Sybil Trelawney.
Yes, and we shall talk about her in a later episode.
And their head of house is Flitwick.
Yes.
So, and I didn't mention for Hufflepuff, their head of house is Professor Sparrow. But we'll talk more about the professors in a different episode. But yeah, I just like the creative thing because I think that really ties in with Luna really well. And it's like often forgotten that.
Yeah, when you just think of a Ravenclaw that typically goes to like a bookworm, and that's not. There's so much more to them than that.
Oh, absolutely. Anyway, so
I want to start with like an older student, but she plays a pretty big role in the series, and she's a ghost, but she was in Ravenclaw, and that is Moaning Myrtle, and her name is Myrtle Warren.
Yep. And something very funny about her in the movies, I think they do a great job. She seems just like the movies in in the books. She's the same person. I mean, they cut her things here and there because they have to, but like she's the same. She is the oldest student.
Yep.
She's like in her 30s, 40s. When she's filming.
Yeah. Like the actress is, I don't know how she nails it, but she just nails it.
She kills it. Kills it. Like it works really well. And she looks great. She doesn't look like she's older. She plays it really well. So this is one of those cases that I think they did a great job at, even though they do have to cut things short, that they still made her. So there'll be no deviance as we continue on talking about our poor Myrtle.
Oh, Myrtle. She is fascinating and disturbing.
I feel so bad for her sometimes. My girl.
I go in and out. So I go in and out of like being really upset for her and how she died and her being alone and feeling alone. And then I get really mad at how much she like kind of abuses other people. So it's really hard for me to feel bad for her sometimes.
Right.
Especially part of her backstory is that she has to stay in Hogwarts because she got a restraining order from the student who found her. She stalked the student who found her dead.
Olive Hornby bullied her so much about her glasses and everything that she literally would spend hours crying in that bathroom that she died in. And then to dig the nail into the coffin, she's the one who finds Myrtle dead, going in to tease her some more.
So not a great
understandable
person.
That a child would come back and go, you know what? F you in particular. Haunted her at her wedding.
It like stalks her to, it's like Olive's cousin's wedding.
Yeah.
And that's the final straw where she like disrupts this wedding and then gets
to stay at Hogwarts.
Yeah. Restraining order now has to stay at Hogwarts. So I think she gets her own in the end with that. So she's still very tragic as a character. Like I don't wish her to have died in this way and been lonely, but she also has this personality of like stalking the boys.
Yeah, it takes her a bit. It takes her a bit to get out of her shell because she is at the beginning, and I think part of that boy thing may have been because she was around Harry and Ron so much in second year. Yeah, because at the beginning of the books of book 2, especially. This is a girl's bathroom. Yeah. Like she hates them in there. She comments on it multiple times. Yeah. Boys are gross. And it isn't until the end of the book that she is like, okay, maybe boys aren't gross.
Yeah. Because we see her like go through puberty.
She's young. she's young and like she like doesn't go through puberty though. She just like
like we're in this weird teenage phase forever, which has gotta be a thing.
Right. You know, the poor thing has like high emotions all the time.
Yeah.
So like, you know, everything's all over the place. Like she never got her, you know, her hormones never balanced out.
Yep.
I could see her before maybe enjoying the school and not saying anything about it.
Yeah.
But now that she kind of sees them as friends.
Yeah.
She like that's like she like presents herself to Harry much more often, and how in previous years she may have secretly done things like spied on Cedric. Now she is not afraid to tell her friends that she does that. Say that very skeptically because they are not friends.
Yeah, it's she I wrote down a line that just like hit me. It was, my life was nothing but misery at this place, and now people come along ruining my death. Like such a dramatic,
I mean,
sad,
I would be
tragic.
too though.
Yeah,
because
I don't fault her.
Oh my gosh, the amount of games she brings up.
Yeah,
like she didn't invent those.
No,
she's been in the school for 50 years. And something that I was thinking about, it's tragic to think about all of these games that she brings up and all these things that she talks about that have been done to her. And these people, most likely who tormented her for years, are all still alive. And at this point, their kids are at the school. So she has now seen these people who treated her terribly grow up, get married, have kids, have a family, have everything she can as a preteen young girl, doesn't understand, and is dealing with that. Yikes. I mean, she's a drama queen, but she's also, once again, a kid. She's not an adult.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, this guy like super sucks.
Yeah, this is
for you.
Yeah, I would not want to stay as a teenager my whole life. So, or my whole death.
Right. Forever.
Forever. For all eternity. Like she's such a interesting character that is tragic and is kind of funny at times. Like when she comes into her own and is friends like in book 4 and is helping Harry in the bath.
She's comfortable and can make these comments that are silly.
Yeah. I like that she randomly goes to the lake below sometimes and knows what's down there. In the books, she helps Harry in the lake, correct?
Yeah. She just like sees him and is like, here you go. Like,
like
she doesn't like assist,
but she pops up in the middle of
she's there like, hello, it's over there. You know, so, like, just like scooting around, watching her BFF, who she was. I think this was cute, and this is another thing that like Ron notices at the end. She's a little disappointed at the end of book 2, where she's like, oh, you're alive.
Yeah.
And Ron's like, I think she wanted you to stay with her.
Yeah, 100%. And
I think he's right.
Yeah.
I think he's right. Like,
she wants a bestie for all eternity.
Right. The poor thing, because she's with a bunch of ghosts who are so older than her, so much older than her too. One thing that I'm like, it just didn't age well.
Yeah.
And I think 2 things of that didn't age well. One was the comment about Cedric, that almost all of the bubbles were gone.
Yeah.
That I don't think aged well, because that's like a consent issue, because he did not know that you were there.
Yeah, that gets really creepy really
and that
fast.
I don't like. I get that, like, trying to be funny, but like didn't age.
Yeah.
The other thing that I really, really disliked that didn't age well at all was the suicide joke she makes.
Yeah.
I tried to kill myself and I'm already dead. That's not funny. That's not funny. Like, she was not saying it as a joke, but it was meant to be drama queen joke. And it just like,
Yeah, it was the late aughts that those were coming out. And it wasn't funny then, really.
Well, that's in the book.
Oh, it's in the book. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's in the book too.
Oh no. Yeah.
No, it's still not like,
it's not
like,
funny.
Both circumstances are not funny.
It was really interesting for book 6 when she comes up again as Draco's confidant, because I think we get that in the movie for like a hot second, but really if you think about like Draco really confiding in her of all people is really interesting to me.
Yeah, it's another safe haven. It's another idea he gets from Hermione. He gets a lot of ideas from Hermione, and this is one of them. Unintentional from Hermione, but other ones he does get on purpose from Hermione. Yeah, you learn a lot about her, and she does want that friend, and she is devastated when he's injured. And it's tough for her because these are two people who she sees as friends are almost like Harry would have killed Malfoy.
Yeah.
He didn't know it. He didn't know.
But he would have.
If Snape was not there first, Malfoy would have died.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's so you have this ghost who has just wanted a friend, and then kind of thinks she finds them in the Golden Trio, and specifically Harry, and then finds it in his rival in book 6, which is probably even a more meaningful friendship because Draco sees her as a confidant, like a real friendship compared to Harry, and then sees both of them attacking each other. Like that's.
Well, and I don't even know if she sees him if he sees her as a confidant. More of he is crying.
Yeah,
he's in there crying. He's like vulnerable she is. With her. Like she is bold. She can see him doing the same things. Like he did not go to her to talk. He ran into a room that no one would be in, and she happened to be there. I think it's interesting too that she doesn't like any of the girls. She still doesn't super like Hermione.
Yeah,
and that could be too that she was so bullied by women.
Yeah, it does. It definitely
Why is
feels
that?
like. Oh,
it's all that women I hate. But anyway, just like wondering.
Yeah, you'd think that Myrtle would have found at least. There's got to be another student who is being picked on in this
apparently
school.
Not.
But she does not seek them out to help them.
No. Nope.
Yeah.
That was something else that I thought was very confusing about Moaning Myrtle. That is not her, but no professors, no Dumbledore, no one thought to be like, this girl died from the thing from Slytherin's chamber. Maybe we should ask her about it. Like you're telling me nobody in her 50 years of being dead at this school, not a single soul was like, oh hey, how'd you die?
Yeah, so if they had asked her,
she is thrilled to tell people about it.
Are you telling me that when it started happening again, you didn't go, hey Myrtle, where exactly did this happen? Let's investigate this. You didn't see a snake on the faucet.
Right.
And you didn't think about it? Like, are you kidding me?
And she's not going to tell anybody. She had a whole vendetta. She just died. Like, she had stuff to do. She had Olive Hornby to haunt for the rest of her life.
I feel like she should have been the number one helper of this case for the Chamber of Secrets coming back.
Why did no one ask her? It
doesn't make any sense.
Not a single soul.
Yeah.
Go, maybe we should ask the person who died.
From this exact thing.
So I don't know if that was a Tom Riddle thing that he was able to charm his way out of it, because Dumbledore also wasn't headmaster at the time. It was Dippet, and Dippet seemed very excited for it to be over. But you'd think Dumbledore would have done something. He seems like somebody who isn't confined to the rules of my boss said this, so I'll do it.
Yeah, like even if he just had gone and visited her, I feel like he would have tried to get all of the information.
Right. So that I didn't understand that, because it's not like she's not like, let me tell you about my death, but she's not like sneaky about it.
No, she's not trying to hide
it. Her, she's like, heck yeah, please let me talk to you more.
Here, you want to hear about she does enjoy telling her death tale.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a fascinating trait of hers.
It's the most exciting thing that's ever happened to her. Like, it's the coolest thing that's ever happened to her.
This poor girl.
Which sucks.
Yeah. Like, it's so tragic. Yeah. But she's a Ravenclaw.
Yeah, she was one of the biggest like side character Ravenclaws. It's interesting to me that we never find out how old she is, what age she was when she dies.
Yeah, we don't get exact. We know that she died in 43.
Yeah, but that's it. You don't get to know, because for all we know, she has pimples and everything. So she could be anywhere from like 12 to 15. Like truly anywhere in that age.
Oof, that's a rough age to die
and be
in for the rest of your life, for the rest of your death.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's quick go through some of our mentioned Ravenclaws, the group of students that went in with Harry his first year, who are never mentioned again. Mandy Brocklehurst and Lisa Turpin. Welcome to Ravenclaw.
Yes, come on down.
I think one of my favorite. Oh, another one that doesn't get mentioned again. Orla Quirk, who gets. She gets for the other creepy boy in book 4.
Yeah.
But my favorite mentioned like 3 times total, but her family's mentioned a few other times, is Miss Fawcett.
Yes.
Miss Fawcett, who they don't say her first
I was about to say, I have a question mark Fawcett.
They just say Fawcett. Her family is mentioned a little bit. Her family is mentioned, like they live, I think, close to the Weasleys. they're like casually mentioned of like, oh, are they coming to the match?
Yeah.
No, okay, but like not her specifically, just like the family as a unit.
Yeah.
But yeah, she is mentioned very, very few times. One is getting a nosebleed during the failed dueling club.
Yep.
And she gets 10 points taken from Ravenclaw.
Yep. Oh,
for making out with Stebbins from Hufflepuff.
Caught in bushes with Stebbins.
And that is where you find out. Yeah, and that's where you, of course, because no other teacher's going to take points for making out.
That's fair.
No, of course, it's Snape. And that is where you find out her house. So you hear Miss Fawcett earlier, but you don't get to know what her house is until he specifically takes it from Ravenclaw, which also is a little bit sexist. Why don't you take it from Stebbins?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Stebbins didn't get it removed.
I don't think so. No.
What? And then also in book 4, she does attempt to break the circle and does not and gets beard.
Yes. So really she's been put in the book to fail. Like she just gets caught and fails so many times.
Not talked about again.
Oh, poor Fawcett. Well, Miss Fawcett, whatever your first name is.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. You made us giggle. Approximately 3 times.
We have Mystery Hufflepuff. We have question mark Fawcett. Doing great. And we are going to talk about Cho in a different episode because she is like the biggest.
She's a main character in
Ravenclaw.
Some of the books.
So now that we know she's a student, we will talk about her in a different episode. But she does have a friend who plays a pretty big role in this. But before we get to Marietta, we also have a girlfriend who shows up to be a girlfriend, and that's really it. But we get a name.
She does.
It's Penelope Clearwater.
It's a pretty name.
It's a nice
very
name.
like we need to give Percy like a pretty girlfriend name.
Yes, it does seem. But we get a little bit of her personality in that she makes a bet with him about the Gryffindor Quidditch match. So that's kind of cute. Ginny catches them snogging.
She has money though, but doesn't know that he doesn't have money. That was funny. She bets not like a couple of sickles, like 10 galleons. So I don't know if that was like Percy got overexcited and wanted to show off and like she didn't question him.
Yeah, he's really lucky that worked out.
Yeah, he's really lucky that worked out for him.
Yeah, that would not have gone well.
And she must have known Quidditch at least a little bit because she is very excited to see the firebolt. Like she asks, she's very polite about it. She asks Harry to see it. And while Percy's like, being a dingbat about like, oh yeah, Harry, I know him. Yeah. She's just like checking it out and like passes it back and says thank you and like moves on. She seems pretty sweet.
We get a little bit what she likes with the Quidditch and
she definitely is more into her physical appearance too.
Yes.
Which I think is a very normal girl thing.
Oh, for sure.
That Hermione goes back and forth from being like, no, that's dumb. But yes, that's cool. Which is weird to me. But she is very confidently, I don't know, I see her as a very like the average of how they feel about their image. Because like she's the one who had the compact that Hermione used.
Yes.
It wasn't Hermione's, it was hers. And then also I think it's so funny that her little her picture that they have of her, she's like when she has spots, she's like desperately like doesn't want Percy to see.
Yeah.
You know, it just seems like a cute sweet. And she, I mean, bless her for putting up with Percy because man, does he get annoying.
Yeah. Like we don't
dates him for like over a year.
Yeah, she dates him for a while, and then I will give her credit for not sticking around during his craze. So
yeah, when he actually gets to the ministry, like, yeah, girl, get out. Yeah. Get out.
I hope she ends up in a much happier situation.
She was really sweet. I think it was interesting to me that I wasn't as big of a fan of because she is also a prefect. She, you know, but something that I didn't like, and I think this was truly just to tie her explicitly to Percy. She's not named like until she is petrified. She's literally not named until the twins are like, oh yeah, that girl's Penelope Clearwater. He's upset because she was a prefect too. Yeah, like we meet her multiple times. Yeah, in book 2 and do not get her name.
It's Percy's girlfriend. And
that's it. They don't even mention her name when they bring her up into, and they're both petrified. Yeah. Nobody's brought to see her. Yeah. It's just they're brought to see Hermione. I do think that is very cool of her and says a lot to her character that this young girl who wasn't at the Quidditch match as well, like Hermione immediately tells this prefect, which feels very Hermione to me. Yeah. And that like about the situation, and Penelope's like, all right, I'll get you. I'll help you. Like, let's go. Gives her the mirror and is with her. Like they're both is just on it with her. Yeah. Convinced this all makes sense.
Yeah. That gets gone over a lot. Like you just don't. Yeah. That's a big moment it.
Right. Can you imagine if a younger student ran up to you and was like, I know what's in the Chamber of Secrets.
There's a big snake in the school.
Like if she didn't fully trust Hermione, she would have died.
Yeah.
Because she would have been looking for it, not looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
So I think that's just something interesting about her character as well, I think.
Yeah, she's a smart one. She listens to reason and knows who to trust. So
yeah. But she's in it very little, but
she's a cute.
Thanks for
she
being
has
there.
An impact, yes.
Yeah, can't believe because she starts dating him at the end of book 1, all of book 2.
Yes.
Dates him all of book 3.
Yes.
Over 2 years.
Yeah. We don't get any info about the breakup either. Like we just
No. But I agree with you. I'm sure she saw what he was becoming and was like, nah.
Yeah.
And he probably didn't think anything of it because
he was
I'm in ministry now. I'm important. I have things to do.
Yeah, I have a feeling, my gut tells me that as soon as he got that job, he completely started ignoring her and she was like, and peace.
Yeah. I can do better.
Yeah.
You're being weird.
Yeah. So good on you, Penelope Clearwater.
Yeah. Impressed that he got you with how
Yes.
pretty you are described and how chill you are.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, you dated down for a little bit, so I hope you dated up after this.
Truly.
Yeah.
Shall we move to,
yes.
we do love Cho Chang.
Mm-hmm.
But Cho Chang, who are you?
Who are your friends?
Who are your friends?
I was really upset that Marietta wasn't in the movies because she was such a big character in book 5.
She was just the stick in the mud because
Yeah.
she didn't do anything. She didn't change.
No.
She didn't arc. There was nothing. She just was super, super against Harry the whole time, and then tells she's the one who outs to the DA to the school,
which
and
makes sense.
That's all she does.
That Cho doing it doesn't really make sense.
No,
they
it
try
doesn't
to
make any
cover it
sense.
up with the Veritaserum and all of that, but she from the beginning didn't want to be at the Hogshead, but it does show her
She went there
loyalty
for
to
Cho.
Cho.
Yeah,
That she came along anyway and was putting herself in so much danger because we do get that her mom works for the ministry.
But so does half the other members.
It doesn't. I'm not excusing her choice.
She's just not nice, and I was very confused when Cho was still her friend later. And I think it's well deserved that she gets a nasty face for
and no one fixes it. No one knows how to fix it. That fascinates me.
Well, Hermione never tells anybody that she did it.
Well, and that's a whole other thing that I have in Hermione's notes of like, why did she not tell anyone after that was fixed? Like, she comes back the next year in book 6.
It's better, but it's not gone.
It's not gone. So she's been dealing with this for a year. She deserves it. But yeah, it surprises me that Cho is so loyal after that and tries to defend her.
I mean, it's tough.
It's
I
hard.
see like at right at the get-go when it first happened, I could see that maybe it hasn't sunk in yet of what she did.
Yeah.
But to then be on the train with her the next year is kind of what bothered me a bit. I'm like, what claws does she have in you? I wonder, she literally shows nothing else. Everything else, the only thing she does in this book, and it happens multiple times, is glowers at Harry and tries to get Cho away from him. That's it. And she doesn't change. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't do anything.
And I get the feeling maybe they've been friends forever. Like maybe it's an old friend, which is why Cho would stick by her and forgive her. Right. And maybe she really likes Cedric. And maybe she thinks Cho being with Harry is a bad idea, so she's trying to be a good friend. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. She may be the only friend that stuck around after that. Yeah. Because Cho used to be seen, every time she's described, as around a crowd of girls. She was very popular. And now she only has this one friend. Yeah. Which I also thought was interesting that they don't name her for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's not named like the first handful of times you meet her.
And then you have to like connect the dots like, oh, it's that person who was
this
with
girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Who was with Cho. And so I have mixed feelings because obviously she deserved the jinx that happened.
Yeah. We assume that later it probably gets changed and
we hope that maybe someday she doesn't have to deal with it.
It's covered with makeup. But even when push comes to shove at the end, she has to be confunded.
Yeah.
Because she's still like without any serum, she's still like these people. And that's a big deal for her to do that. That is beyond just, oh, my friend wants to date this guy I don't like.
Yeah, no, you're condemning everyone to potential expulsion. because of this. So to do that, it makes me want to know what was the push?
Yeah.
Like, what was the final straw? Did Umbridge corner her and she broke? Like, what?
No, she didn't break. She went to her.
Oh, she went to...
Yeah.
Oh, Mariette, I'm trying. I'm trying to help you.
She went to Umbridge. It was after Christmas, so I don't know if this was... She had talked to her and had found out that they were kind of maybe together and like...
Yeah.
But I don't know. She went to her. That's why Umbridge is so excited. She's like, you just came to my office and told me. Like, there was not a...
That's right. She wasn't.
Serum moment voluntarily went, I'm going to throw all these people under the bus. And something else that bothers me is it, at this point, especially with the DA, would not be a secret that she is abusive.
Yeah.
Because multiple people have bloody hands and ruined hands. Like, it's not, in the movies, they make it seem like it's just Harry. It's not. Lee Jordan also has bloody hands, and we can only assume that others do as well. And Lee Jordan is part of the DA. So you're telling me after how many of these sessions with just you and for them to not notice Lee or Harry couldn't use their hand for a session or two? Like, I would find that hard to believe.
You know,
So
you know what the consequences are. You know, like for her to go to... That's why I don't understand that there wasn't a breaking point that we saw in the book for Marietta, that it just happened. It felt like convenient timing without like potential cause.
It was tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does, the thing I do like about her is that made me frustrated with the movie. And I get that they needed to do this, but Cho was always on their side. Yeah. She just was going through a lot. So to have that person be the bad guy and take the fall and do it, I think was really important. Because in the movies, it makes it seem like Cho's the bad guy.
Yeah, that's why I understand
the case.
Why they did it, just to cut out so much and to make a clean break with Harry in the movies. Yeah. But it really... It's a discredit to who Cho is, which is sad.
Yeah. Hands down.
Sorry, Marietta. You have to live with boils and stuff all over your face for the rest of your life. The final big Ravenclaw member that I have is Padma.
Yes.
Who is a Ravenclaw, according to the books.
And in the movies, they like throw her into Gryffindor sometimes.
What?
Like, what? Padma is a Ravenclaw, and you don't really get to meet her or hear really anything about her other than her initial sorting until book 4.
Yeah.
And there's casual mentions previously of people being nervous about like, oh, what, like siblings are always in the same house. And it's like, no, the twins are not.
Which is really cool. I think that's a really cool thing.
And that's interesting. I think too, I couldn't find solid evidence of this, but it feels very much like it's never said. It's kind of mentioned that they aren't identical because Harry does make a comment saying like, oh, I hope Padma's nose is squarely in the center of her face. So it is implied that they are not identical, which also sets them more apart at being like different houses, which I think is super cool. And I wish we saw more of that.
Yeah, it was really cool. And it also made the moment when Pavarti got her a date so much more fun because it wasn't just someone there to ask, where it makes me sad that neither of them had dates that late in the game.
So I have a theory about that.
Okay,
because,
I want to hear it.
They are also the prettiest girls in the grade.
Yes,
like
I love
literally
that.
As all the boys are together getting ready, and they're like, "What the heck? You're the prettiest girls in the grade or the year." How it calls them years, not grades. I'm sorry, American.
Yes.
And so I think it was an intimidation thing. I wonder if the other boys in the year and stuff were like,
we can't
intimidated.
Ask them. Yeah.
Because also when you look at, and we'll talk about them later and get back to Padma, but like just because we're on this topic of the ball, Pavarti and Lavender are often seen together, and Lavender is easily the more giggly one. And Pavarti is definitely more put together and more outgoing and more outwardly strong.
In her classes and stuff,
So I could see, especially with when you meet Padma and how like no nonsense she is, I could see them being intimidated by these two girls.
I could see that,
because I also was confused too. Like, how are the two prettiest girls in the year not taken already? And then maybe it's because they're all intimidated by these two strong women. Which, I mean, Padma, within seconds of seeing Ron is like, this
is what you got me? That's why it's so cool when they're not in the common room, when she meets him in the entrance hall and has to deal with whatever is in front of her.
And this is another moment too where for some reason the movies they match them. But they're not. They're in totally different colors.
She's in bright turquoise.
Like Padma's in like this beautiful turquoise. Yeah. You know, like they're not even remotely in the same color. But just sulky at the dance, and something I felt so bad for her. I felt so bad for her.
Yeah.
So Pavarti, I think, overall had a pretty good time at the ball.
Yeah.
She got, like, the beginning of it was really just a couple minutes of some sulkiness sitting with her sister, like, are we going to do stuff? Padma, not knowing Ron or Hermione outside of classes, or Harry for that matter, outside of whatever her sister has told her in classes, watches a massive fight go down between Ron and she's just sitting there. She's just sitting there watching it happen. She waits. She could have left. She doesn't. She chooses to wait, watches the literal shit show. And then, like, later, this is like a page later, she's like, "Can you dance with me at all?" Fine. And then leaves.
Yeah, like she sticks it out way longer than I would have. Because she didn't ask for this date. It was gotten for her. She witnesses this huge fight. He never, like, Pavarti at least got to dance because she was with a champion. So, like, go girl.
Oh, and she enjoys Harry.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that later. But she had a good time.
And
Poor
Padma got no dancing, sticks with him for a huge chunk of the ball, and then finally leaves. So, like, good on her for trying to stick to her date. But
like,
you should have left way sooner, girl.
I will say, I love the moment when she joins her sister on the dance floor and she's with the Beauxbatons. And it's like, it's almost like another one came as if conjured by an Accio charm. I mean, that just cracked me up because they are pretty. And by the end of the dance, they're crowded by boys from Beauxbaton because, once again, I think they're not intimidated by them because they don't know what they're like. They don't know how strong. And Padma seems very, like, quiet and put together. And I mean, she sits there for that whole fight. Like, doesn't say anything. She's more of a watcher. Yeah. So, but they don't know that. They just see these two
and then they meet
girls.
them at Hogsmeade. They have plans for, like, I love that the Patel twins get the boys. That's why I'm so sad in the movies when the Beauxbaton boys aren't existent, because I'm like, but what about the Patel twins? Because they get it.
Like, give them their moment. Give them their moment. Yeah. Let them be the beautiful girls that they are.
Yeah. It made me so happy. So happy in the books when they're like, oh, we're going to go meet some of the boys at Hogsmeade. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Because they got a date. They got like, one of them got like an actual like date, but you're like, yes. Yeah. Yes, girl. She then later becomes prefect, which totally makes sense.
Good for her. Yep.
She seems very book smart, gets it done. Just the way that she, like, calmly sits there with Ron. I keep referencing that, but, like, that says so much about her character.
Yeah, that's what we get. We don't get a lot of moments with Padma to really get to know her. So, like, we have to take what we get and create a character out of her.
Something with her that I think is interesting is that I'm not sure if it's, I don't think Pavarti says we had to convince our parents to stay. I think Pavarti says I.
Yeah, I was curious about what the home situation is fascinating with the Patel twins because they seem to want to stay, or at least Pavarti does.
Yeah, I mean, Padma stays with her, obviously, but
yeah.
But yeah, it just was interesting because Padma is so much more logical. She may see this isn't safe.
Yeah,
but I'll go with you.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, so she stays at Hogwarts, but I could see a moment where they had a discussion about it, and they leave for home when Hogwarts is attacked in book 6.
Yeah,
so
and
they do finally go.
And they don't come back the next year. They are not mentioned.
I have that they're in the room of requirement.
Yes.
They're
Sorry,
in.
I'm wrong.
So
they did come back.
They come back, and they're mentioned as being in the hideout with everyone.
Yes, and they do go fight then because everybody has to leave.
But it's very passing. It's like one sentence when they say that the twins are probably in there or something.
Right, which seemed strange to me that they would leave. I mean, they leave before the morning on year 6. Like, nobody says goodbye to them because they're gone, and that's interesting to me.
So they would come back when the Death Eaters are teaching.
Yeah, like that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I was confused by that. So maybe that's why my brain like didn't clock it. But something that I didn't know about Padma because I didn't read Cursed Child. So there's an alternate timeline in the Cursed Child.
Ugh. Okay.
Where Padma and Ron get married.
What?
And have a child.
I mean, she would never go out with him after the Yule Ball. So what kind of multiverse weirdness is this?
Well, they changed something that happens in the 4th book.
Okay.
But
an alternate universe in the Cursed Child, which is technically canon, but it's not.
No, this is like a weird alternate like moment in Cursed Child. It's not like super crazy, but yeah, in an alternate reality, they
doesn't make any sense to me.
Married and have a son.
Cool.
Like neither of them would work together.
No, like neither, not in any way.
Like not even a little bit.
No, absolutely not.
Like, Ron needs someone to kick him in the butt, but not that hard.
No, she would not put up with that. Absolutely not. We only get a glimpse of her in the book, and I just cannot believe that she would put up with anything like that.
No. Hard pass, hard pass.
Yep.
So, yeah, but I believe that is the end of our
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw students.
Yes.
Moving on to our Slytherin students. Slytherin House was founded by Salazar Slytherin, and he is the one who famously left the quartet, if you will.
Yes.
Because he only wanted purebloods. He does, really like who he feels will be the most ambitious and strongest and things like that. He keeps an eye out for the elite, if you will.
Yes.
Slytherins are categorized as being very protective. They can be aggressive and very competitive. They do make powerful enemies, which you see in this book very much. The Bloody Baron's the ghost of that house. He's terrifying.
Terrifying. Oof.
And notable Slytherins. I'm trying to, when I say these notable Slytherins, I'm trying to list ones that are actually like big and famous and not just like Draco Malfoy.
Yeah. That's
and
fair.
like ones in the book.
Yeah.
So for this one, which they did give a little after in different canons, not in the books, is Merlin. Merlin is Slytherin. That is
our little
the
snakies.
things of our little snakies, and there aren't very many women mentioned.
There's not a whole bunch of named ones. A lot of the Slytherin house is kind of lumped into like a group of girls. We don't spend a lot of time with them because they're seen as the evil house because it's easier just to do that. But
it's dumb. It's really
unfortunate. I think they had a chance to like make life complicated by having good people in Slytherin, and then just didn't. But I have a lot of feelings. I'll probably go on a rant and an after hours about that at some point.
Yeah. No, I'll join you. Like, that's really frustrating. So, I mean, there's really one of them I have feelings about. The other one, I'm like, yeah, you needed a bad girl. You needed a generic bad girl. Get it.
Yeah.
Other than Millicent and Pansy, were there any others that you wanted to?
I didn't have any, like, even in the sorting hat scene, I didn't even write down any that get sorted into Slytherin.
No, because, like boys do.
Yeah, but there's hardly any girls.
They don't mention any girls listed, which really shows a lot when you're pulling apart specifically the women.
Interesting. Yeah. Maybe it's on purpose so that because she does categorize it as evil. Maybe it was like supposed to make it like men are more evil, but it's all complicated and messy, and I don't like it.
Yeah. I also don't like that the two women that we do talk about are described as essentially ugly.
Yeah, that bothers me because to me, and Pansy's the bigger one of the characters, but she seems like the stereotypical queen bee, bad, like mean girl.
Yeah.
Of
and
the
I
school.
didn't mind that.
No, you get one of those. Like it makes sense.
It was kind of nice to have. I was kind of bummed that they kept forgetting about her because, like, she wasn't. She was in book one. The only sorting mentioned is Millicent. They don't mention Pansies, and then they just like continuously forget about her. Or she sometimes has a group of friends. She sometimes doesn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the girl gang. Just to finish Bulstrode real quick. She's also the reason why it's a cat.
Yeah.
In the book too. Why? Because she has cat hair on her.
Yeah. Like she's put in for that moment.
Yeah. I mean, she also is described as large, square, heavy jaw, aggressive, and is bigger than Harry. She gets Hermione into a chokehold.
Yeah.
And she's so much bigger than Harry that Harry has trouble getting her off Hermione.
Yeah. Is everyone in Slytherin just a big brute? That doesn't make sense to me at all.
Pansy's face like a pug. I think she was cute. The movies, I think they cast her really well.
Yeah. I liked what they did in the movies because that's how I envisioned her. She seems like she probably was pretty, probably got to be the mean, nasty girl. And like is pretty much only mentioned when she's mocking Harry or she like making fun of him.
She gets into it with Hermione as like the big one is you have this like girl rivalry.
Yeah.
And then it peters off.
And she's interesting too because I feel like she's kind of pinned as the girl who wants to date Draco. Because she's always with him.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting relationship that we don't really get to get much of.
Looks for greatness as per her family lineage. She has family who was in Minister of Magic.
And she wasn't traditionally a Death Eater. Like her family wasn't Death Eaters, right? Maybe we don't know.
Let me double check.
But if you're in the ministry...
They do have the list of all the Death Eaters.
Because she seems shocked when... Not shocked, but she seems a little more surprised when Draco in book 6 is talking about like the Dark Lord specifically, and she's still on board, it feels like, but not as necessarily as happy about it. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe I'm projecting.
She doesn't want him to leave.
Yeah.
This is her, she, you know,
Yeah.
she's stroking his hair while his head's in her lap. Like,
That
she
is
wants
such
him.
a weird description to me. It's like, okay. So she
I always
desperately
pictured them as dating at that
I
moment.
thought so too. Like they go to the Yule Ball together in book 4. Also, like when she's made her appearance is made of fun of by Hermione, it could just be petty. But I don't think Draco would date someone who isn't gorgeous. I feel like he'd be
absolutely
shallow enough. Like that family would expect him to go to the Yule Ball with a gorgeous, like pureblood,
a Slytherin. Yes, yes.
So
yeah,
and she's wearing pink. She's wearing like fluffy pink or something. Is how her
really,
dress is.
like
fluffy pink.
It's
and I'm
kind of,
like, that okay, I get it. Like it's the mean girl aspect.
You're being feminine. You're being, yeah. So I just was bummed that she was in and out of it because I thought it was kind of nice to have that that girl adversary.
Yeah.
Although they brought her up at the end in a great moment, being like, "Well, I guess we'll just like, why don't we just like give Harry to them?"
Yeah.
And when the whole school like unanimously is like, "She'll be first."
Yeah,
get her out.
That's a very bold statement to make in the middle of people who are clearly on Harry's side.
Right?
I do enjoy that they bring her back for a big moment.
Yeah. Because of course she was at the school. She had no problems.
Yeah.
They weren't in any, she wasn't in any danger.
Yeah, she is prefect. We get her to be the Slytherin prefect, which is fun.
You know, which is because like can't give it to Millicent. We don't know any other Slytherin names, so we'll give it to
it's her. She has to be it, you know. We have her conducting Weasley as our king in the Quidditch crowd. So yeah, anytime she's mentioned, it's always to poke at something,
which is fun. And like I didn't mind her at all. Like
there's allowed to be rivalries,
right? I just was bummed that like she was in and out of it. Like it's like just make her, because then later she loses all her friends.
Yeah,
later she just becomes part of the trio.
Yeah, which is weird. She would have
like
I feel like she has an entourage.
Yeah, by book 5, she no longer has an entourage, and it is depicted as her with Malfoy. It's like she started dating him, and now they're just together.
Yeah, I feel like she would have
end
minions.
up with him.
Yeah, she doesn't end up.
They
with
don't
him.
end up together, but I don't know why they got rid of her friend group and just like put her in with Crabbe and Goyle. That seemed very strange to me.
I get the sense that when she would become a prefect, she would end up with like lower year minions. She seems like that kind of person to gain the power of like minion Slytherin girls, which would have been really fun. I do appreciate in book 6, she says that people find Ginny attractive. So she doesn't seem catty about it. It's just like, people think Ginny's really attractive.
What people talk about.
Yeah. She's not catty all the time.
Right.
Just
she's stating a fact.
Yeah. And I don't hate we've discussed before, like rivalry is very different than women on women hate. Even if it is catty, she is put as the rival of Hermione, but Hermione really doesn't get a rival. Like it's
no, and she could have. She had one for like a hot second, Parkinson. But just to round it out, Parkinson, the Sacred 28. A lot of the people we've mentioned are in that list. The Abbotts are part of the Sacred 28. Millicent Bulstrode.
There she is.
And so is Parkinson.
Yeah, she'd have to be a pure blood for Draco to hang out with her.
Yes. Oh, hands down.
And unlike Crabbe and Goyle, her name, like her family name, is not brought up as a Death Eater that is currently active.
Right. No. And wasn't in the past either. They're like, I mean, they're on their side. But
yeah. So it seems like she was, when Draco was talking about it on the train, it feels like she was a little hesitant about how deep in he was, but wasn't stopping him.
Oh, no.
It feels a little narcissist-y to me, where she never becomes one, but is around
right.
It. Yeah, she's a great mean girl. I wanted more of her actually in it. I think it's a great.
I know. That's why I was like kind of bummed that they just like kind of got rid of her a little bit. But I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, those are our two ladies from
That's
Slytherin.
it.
So annoyed they couldn't. No more. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. What can you do? But we have a lot of Gryffindors.
Yes. So let's get into the Gryffindors.
Yep.
So Gryffindor was founded by Godric Gryffindor. You have the classic traits of brave, proud, those kinds of things. Tend to have lots of courage, determination, chivalrous, but they can be very reckless at times.
Yes. Oh, and the head of house for Slytherin is Snape, and Slughorn won for a second.
Yes. So sorry about that. And this one is Minerva.
Yes.
McGonagall.
Yeah. I'm so excited to talk about her later in another episode.
Oh my gosh, yes. There are quite a few Gryffindors. So we are going to get through some of the more mentioned ladies.
Yes.
And then we'll work our way up. As for girls who are just like casually mentioned or not in it very much, you have like Laura Madley, who's sorted into Gryffindor with the creepy boy.
Yes.
The only other one that you get for a hot second is Romilda Vane. She's in one book.
Yeah, she's in one book. In book 4, we have Natalie MacDonald.
Oh, yes.
Is sorted. Book 5, Patricia Stimpson was the girl who Fred and George said was fainting during the owls in their year. And we have Vicky Grobisher, who tried out for keeper, but was too busy with all her other clubs.
Yes. I have that under all the Quidditch ladies.
Yes.
Is where I have
those are my random ones. Yeah, Romilda Vane gets a lot of attention for being in one book. But she has an interesting part in the book. She is, responsible for the eventual poisoning of Ron, circumstantially.
Yeah.
She pops up in book 6, and she is a 4th-year student who is always surrounded by a group of giggling girls and is trying to be Harry's girlfriend. Just trying very
not
hard.
Even for him.
No, just
without consent.
Without consent is so
I don't give her
rude.
any credit. That is so I hate that.
Yeah, it's very specifically doesn't like Harry for anything other than his popularity. She becomes the mean girl because she's surrounded by a group of giggling girls. Is introduced by telling Harry he doesn't have to sit with like these losers because you can sit with us, and then tries to get Harry to ask her to the Slughorn party, tries to manipulate him with chocolate that is put a love potion into. So she's furious when Harry kisses Jenny, and I'm like, girl, he never liked you. Why are you mad? No. She's such an odd addition.
It's just, and then like literally never comes back. Like she survives the Battle of Hogwarts, and that's
all we get.
Because she's in the movies.
Yeah,
she's on all of the Pottermore Wiki thing, but she's really not important.
No, she's really not. I really feel like that could have been cut
things.
out, and it could have been like someone gave him chocolates as an admirer. I feel like she could have been skipped.
It's just, I don't mind having like a villain, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In Gryffindor, I think that was good to have.
Yeah.
But it just seemed weird. Like they were like, oh, we're just gonna like have a rando, like pick a rando that does this.
Yeah.
Who's like been here this whole time, but like,
but we never heard of her before ever.
Yeah, just now.
Yeah, so that was a little odd. You get a nice villain in Gryffindor because that is kind of nice to see that.
Yeah.
But she gets a lot more credit than I would. So
she doesn't do
anything
anymore. Yeah, she doesn't do anything. It's like
we also have Demelza Robin, who is
she's one of the Quidditch
one of the Quidditch chasers who is only in after the others have graduated. Does her job well. We don't really get much. She has her nose broken by Ron because Ron accidentally punched
Ron
her.
does a lot of noses.
Yeah.
He does a lot of noses.
He does.
Poor guy.
Yeah. And Harry actually fixes it, so that's kind of cool. She gets a moment, Harry fixes it. She's good at dodging bludgers. That's about all we get from Demelza.
But she's a good segue into our Gryffindor chaser ladies.
Yeah.
There's 3 girls that are on the Gryffindor Quidditch team that, I was honestly surprised when taking notes on them that they're like 3 pages almost of notes with the 3 of them. Because now it is three girls that they have notes on, but they are mentioned a lot because it's an important part of Harry's school career is with them.
The Quidditch ladies are really great, and the one I have the most stuff for is Angelina. She becomes the captain. Oh, yeah. I love that we get a person of color
who is not mentioned as a person of color for a few books.
Yeah, that's true. I don't have it until book 4 is when she's
that's
described.
When they talk about it. Everything. Yeah. I have them pretty even across the board. Angelina maybe a little bit more. But
she just gets more stress when she becomes the captain. Like she spends most of book 5 trying to put together a semblance. I feel so bad for her in book 5.
Right. But to start from the beginning so we can get their arcs.
Yes.
Angelina does start as a very strong feminist.
Yes.
She's and women.
Yeah.
She's very proud to be. She is pretty much described as the best chaser on the team. So it makes total sense that she becomes captain later.
Yeah.
And Katie Bell was a chaser, and Alicia Spinnet was a reserve player the previous year, which is the only time we talk about reserve players. They never talk about it again.
Yeah.
They never have reserve players. They have to have actual tryouts for the rest of the books.
Weird.
Whatever. But Alicia is 4th year by book 2.
Yes.
Angelina, I think, is in the same.
I think they leave at the same time.
And then Katie is in between Harry and them. I think it's so funny that what's interesting to me is that they don't like seek out Fred and George outside of like Quidditch stuff, but they are all so comfortable with each other. I think it's so funny that Alicia lets Fred sleep on her shoulder, snore, while she is also asleep.
Yeah, they're both nodding off at practice.
Just like on each other, like very casual.
Yeah. Yeah.
While Wood is having his like dark 30 meeting, you know?
It's another like platonic friendship, like camaraderie, co-ed team. Like we get a little bit more from Alicia in book 2. We have her yelling at Malfoy, "How dare you," when he calls Hermione a mudblood, and we have her speaking up and getting an inquiry about the rogue bludger in a match. So we get a little bit.
She doesn't
more
get it. No. She doesn't get the inquiry. No. She just asks for it.
Yeah.
And Oliver goes, "No, he said no, so it's fine." Excuse you. Yeah. She literally says, "Oliver, this is insane." Yeah. Which, not wrong, girly.
Yeah.
Not wrong. I also love that the 3 girls band together a lot to like to show their strength, because they are very good chasers. And so I love when and this happens a couple times through the books, where the 3 of them, especially for Slytherin, are like, "Come at us."
Yeah. Yeah, they get beat up in these books. All of them get hurt many times.
Not too bad. Like they can all still fly, but still like they get super, super beat up on. And continues on with book 3. It's still like you have those mix of like sometimes they're talked about as a unit where they're superb chasers and everything. You see Angelina slowly falling into that, like, you could see her being a leader. Yeah. Because she is the first to like pipe up and be like, we'll do it, Oliver. Like, don't worry. Them talking about Cedric also cracks me up.
It's really sweet.
Yeah. Like all 3 of them giggle, and Angelina's like, the good looking one.
Yeah.
Katie, the strong and silent one.
Yep.
Like, it just seems like girls who are, they're not like, ooh, Cedric, but I don't know, it's fun. It's fun.
I like that they're also allowed to be a little bit giggly about Cedric, because they could easily have just been this like a jock girl, but they get a little, that like that's fun. No, they have a little bit more of a girls. Yeah,
like all 3 of them do, and that's like super fun. I love that they all take turns, because the twins are going to do it. They all take turns calming Wood. You have Angelina, supports him sometimes. You have Alicia being like, "No, it's fine.
Yep,
it's fine. The weather's not that bad.
Yeah, we're gonna be okay.
Please get it together, Wood."
Yeah, yep.
Please get it together. I love that they're all like included in, or almost all of them are included in his first firebolt trip too.
Yes.
Like Alicia like squeals. She's so excited.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really sweet.
Katie gets looped a bunch. Yeah. I don't know. They're a really supportive team. I really enjoy them as a unit.
Yeah.
Angelina is the only one who questions the twins about their nonsense though.
Yeah. She does take on a more proactive role in that, which is the twins were not going to be captain. Like, neither of them were going to be captain of that team.
No.
So I think she's one of the people who doesn't take their crap, which is really nice to see. And it's someone that I think the twins pretty much respect enough to listen
I think
to.
The twins respect all 3 of them. Yeah. To be honest. They treat them all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But it's just funny to me that Angelina is the only one who's like, she doesn't do anything about it. But she's like, how'd you get all this honeydew stuff? How'd you do that?
Yeah.
And going into that Slytherin game, I know you had mentioned that they get beat up a lot. And especially in this game, because they're really good chasers, there's only one penalty. They get a lot of penalty shots, and there's only one missed.
Yeah.
That game. And they get tons of penalty shots because they're just playing so dirty. Madame Hooch is like ready to explode. She's so mad.
Yeah.
But it's Alicia does it, and she misses it by several feet because she's so mad that what Malfoy just did to her, or did to Harry.
Well, that's it.
She's wrote down so mad. Everything goes in.
I wrote down their injuries. So book 3, Angelina is almost thrown from her broom by a Slytherin player. Alicia gets hit in the face with a club. Could have also,
I thought it was a bludger. No, sir. No.
Okay. And then
Katie never worked harder in her life.
Right. Katie had her head grabbed by a Slytherin.
I thought it was a quaffle.
Yeah,
guys, I know you're more clever than that.
Like, where's the penalty box? Like, do we not? What is too far at this point?
At that point, they were just. I mean, if they would have kept going at the rate they were, the 3 girls would have won the match without Harry catching the snitch. Is how many points they were getting? From the 3
from the penalty
scoring
shots.
penalties, like not even regular shots.
Yeah, it was so. was so bad. And good
It's
on
a
them.
wild
Like,
time.
I don't know if I would keep playing if I got hit in the face with a bat. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Katie does it a lot though. Katie is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Later, she keeps playing even though, and they feel so bad. But when this is, the second time, or rather the first time they're around, like hit somebody in the face by accident.
Yeah.
And it's Katie. She gets really bad bloody nose. And like Fred and George are like, ooh, like we can fix it. And then accidentally give the wrong one.
So bad.
And they feel like just the blood drains from their face. They're like, oh no, looking at the pastels, like, oh, we broke the wrong
our friend.
one.
Like, it's
Crap, we'll take her right away. But she doesn't say anything. Like she has to be told to leave. Like Angela's like, get off.
Yeah.
She is feisty, and I love that. But I skipped ahead really quickly to cover the book 4, which is really, really cool for Angelina.
Yeah.
This is where she is described as, surprise, she's black.
Yeah.
Which we love for her.
I love
but,
that.
You could have said at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And I love that she puts her name in.
When she did that, I'm like, man, how cool would it have been to have her in the tournament? It would have been so cool to have her in the tournament.
But then she would have died, and that would have sucked. So
she would have died. That would have sucked. I get why you couldn't have 2 Griffin. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But I would have.
But it was cool for her to be involved.
Yeah.
Like, it was really, really cool. And she was still happy that a Gryffindor got in, which was, she's very loyal to her house.
Yeah, she was super excited when Harry got to be in it. And
you see, like, Katie has her own kind of separate group of friends, whereas Angelina and Alicia are like friends outside of the Quidditch pitch.
Yeah.
And I think it's so funny that none of them question it when like Fred asks her and she's like having a conversation with Alicia and like they both are like, yeah, like stops, let him do it. She like gives him the look down and goes, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
gives him a smile and goes back and they just, this is like a normal day.
Gets asked. I like how it happens in the books. The movies, they try it, like they do the silent like ask. But in the books, Fred just yelling across the common room is real funny. Like, it's like, it's sweet. It feels very like, and then she's described as dancing exuberantly with Fred at the ball. I bet they had so much fun. I bet they just had a blast.
Fred, game on.
Yeah.
Let me match your energy.
Yeah. I feel like they had so much fun at the ball, and that makes me very happy.
Oh, yeah. And it is very cool because they did set her up in that book where they mention her a lot more often. And then she does get to be more important in book 5 because she is now the captain and she takes it very seriously. They joke, they're like, oh, she'll be so much better than Wood. And then like, maybe not. Oh, no. The thing that she does that Wood doesn't do is she understands when she like steps too far. And sometimes she doesn't step too far and still apologizes for it.
Yeah.
But is like very self-aware. So I think she honestly makes an excellent captain and was just given all of the wrong cards.
She was getting the shit year. Like, she gets the year she has to defend the Quidditch team and might not even get one. Harry's missing practice. Like, she's trying so desperately in book 5.
And I think it's so cool that she wants everybody there for tryouts.
Yeah.
She really, really wants them all to be there because she wants everyone to mesh. And even how she picks the teams.
Yeah.
Vicky, outflew Ron, but, she's involved with so many extracurriculars in school, like it wouldn't work. And then Jeffrey whines about everything. He's always moaning about something, so can't have him either.
Yeah.
I love that. And she knew that she took Harry into consideration even though he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it was like, we already know that he will mesh well.
Yeah.
With him, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, like I like how she goes to Harry and talks straight with him, like, Ron needs work. I know he can do it, but we need extra help. Like,
she's not wrong. He proves her wrong a couple times.
Yeah.
But when push comes to shove and he's in his element, she picked wisely. Yeah. And he's a good player. I like that Katie too, when he does get, I'm not sure which this comes from. I don't know if they don't get to keep their Quidditch robes at the end of the year or what the deal is. But Katie's first comment is, oh yeah, Ron, like, let me go see if like Oliver's old robes fit you. We'll switch out the patches, not a big deal.
Yeah.
So I can't tell if that's those stay at the school or if she understands from the twins of their ability to afford things.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure which route she was going.
Yeah.
But still very thoughtful.
Yes. Alicia gets a couple different things. She gets hit on the nose by Terry Boots' wand in DA practice. She gets hexed with growing eyebrows from the Slytherin Quidditch team when they're desperate to try and get them before the match. And she ends up having to hold back Fred when he attacks Malfoy with Katie, when both of them are doing that. And all of them are in DA. All the Quidditch girls are
Oh, yeah.
NDA and joined that, which is really cool. And I also have
Super
Alicia.
loyal. We love them.
Takes pity on Ron during his first match and rebuttons his Quidditch robes. I'm like, well, that's sweet.
I love that the three of them really, truly care about each other. And they do. Katie reads as very tough. Angelina is the leader of the group. And Alicia reads a little bit as like just kind of there.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that they all take turns caring for the team.
Yeah.
You know?
I do have one mini rant that comes up in this. It fits because so Hermione uses the impervious spell on Harry's glasses. And then Angelina in book 5 suggests let's do that. And in my brain, if they have magic that can make their clothes waterproof, why would they not always have it? Why would they not come weatherproof?
I don't know.
Why? They said they use it on their faces. That's what they say, to use it on their faces. And
so that they can all see, not just Harry. Yeah.
Why? Why is this not a go-to thing in sports?
No idea.
Why, is it illegal? Why are their clothes aren't waterproof? They talk about being soaking. Yeah. Like, why are you not using this on your clothes every single time? That was my. I know
they're not allowed. Quidditch is a rule that you cannot have your wand on you.
But but you could charm an outfit.
But
before.
you could do it before.
Yeah, that's when Hermione,
it's a very flimsy thing.
Yeah, that was my mini rant because when Harry gets it done on his glasses, I went, why the hell is it not on everything? And I'm like, okay, maybe there's a rule. But then when she does it on her face before a thing, I went, okay.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. It should be on everything.
Yeah,
so
like what?
They should have waterproof clothing. That doesn't make any sense to me. It
doesn't
exists.
make any sense to me. Yeah.
That was it.
Speaking of rants, it's going to be very small because it just seemed completely unnecessary to be in the book. So we already have the purebloods and the half-bloods and muggleborns and all that kind of thing. So you already have set up this precedence of a way to separate people into thinking they are elitist and things like that. You've already set up the world that way. You've made a fictional thing to do that. You're also just once throw in that racism is a thing.
That was so weird, right?
It was very left field when Pansy is super racist about Angelina's hair. And I'm just like, why? She covers it like a champ.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, Angelina ignores her, but...
didn't make any sense to me. It was like, why is that there? There were other things that you could have done.
Yeah, like it does.
Why are you even adding that? And I'm a white person reading it, so I don't know how people of color read that, but it just seemed very left field, and they never bring up any sort of racism in the books in that fashion ever.
Yeah, it just
or prior.
Yeah, Pansy's never done anything like that, has never said anything like that. And yeah, it was completely unnecessary.
But nothing with the Death Eaters, nothing with Voldemort, literally never.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah, that doesn't sit well with me. It was unnecessary. I agree in your rant.
Weird. Didn't like it.
I did not like it.
Continuing with...
We did the only thing else I had, poor Angelina desperately trying to replace Harry and Fred in the middle. Poor girl. She gets hit in the match by the own beater's bat because she's trying to replace Fred. Yes! I was like, man, her last year.
That poor thing was so tough.
It was rough. Yeah. That was the last thing I had for book 5. It was just Angelina. I felt so bad for her.
We appreciate that Angelina and Alicia do come back for the Battle of Hogwarts. Yes. They did not need to. They had been graduated now for 2 years and they still came back. We do love that for them. But in book 6, we do get a little bit of Katie. I love her and like I mentioned before, her fierceness, her strongness. I love that the first thing she said, she walks up to Harry and goes, just because I've been on the team doesn't mean you can go easy on me. I'm going to audition. Try out.
Yeah.
And Harry's like,
that. What? I love it. I love that she flat out is like, if there's someone better than me, they should be on the team. I'm like, girl, I love you. Like, this is amazing. For her to say that.
She's phenomenal.
She cares so much about the team that she's willing to step back if she's not right for it.
Yeah, she's so fierce. And you get that a little bit of like, she had a life outside of Quidditch as well. Yeah. Because she didn't have anybody her age on the team. So you have her friend that obviously she does get cursed and that super sucks for her that she had to be transferred to Mungo's because that it was so bad. Like, but she did have a friend who truly cared about her.
Yeah, Leanne.
And
is Leanne in Gryffindor? I put her in Gryffindor.
She is not in a house.
Okay. That's what I didn't think she was officially said to be. But
no, she is. Yeah, she is not in a house.
As much as it sucks that she gets cursed, like that's awful. It is cool that she gets a part in book 6. Like that's the...
Well, and I think what's cool is she comes back ready to go.
Yeah.
Like she literally gets back from the top wizarding hospital in the area and she comes back and goes, sorry, it's been so long. When's practice?
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah. She only gets her memory back 2 weeks before she comes back to school.
I mean, it's crazy. She's really strong. And she also comes back for the Battle of Hogwarts.
Yes.
And she also graduated at the end of this year. So that's all 3 girls could have stayed where it was safe.
Yeah.
And they chose to return
and defend the school.
I love that.
Yeah. The original chasers of Gryffindor are really great. I really love their dynamic, and I like their characters, and I think they all had their own personalities, but that they were a great unit together.
And you had a girl group.
Yeah.
Which you didn't see as much.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have.
Yeah. I really enjoyed them.
But speaking of girl groups, let's get to our last 2 ladies.
Yeah.
So the last 2 girls, which definitely have their own journeys and are very different people, are Lavender Brown and Pavarti Patil. We've already talked about Pavarti a little bit. And I actually, when I was taking their notes, I started highlighting bits that they were mentioned together. Because
there's a lot of those.
This is potentially one of the very few examples of a true best friend relationship.
Yes.
They are rarely seen without each other. They complement each other really well. You see them interacting with each other, and it's really, really cool. So I did start highlighting moments where it's like they are mentioned as a unit as opposed to separate instances.
Yeah.
Lavender and Pavarti are very different people.
Very different, very developed, I will say. Like, they have things they like, things they hate. You get personalities from them. In the books, you get them speaking up in classes. It's really wonderful what the kind of relationship and the kind of character development we get in the books.
Yeah. Pavarti is one of the only other people to speak up often in book 1.
Yeah.
And she continues this throughout the
does
rest.
a
Like,
lot.
she asks the real questions.
Yes, she does. I'm like, yeah, thank you, someone, for...
She immediately scolds Malfoy.
Yeah.
Not Hermione. Not Harry. Pavarti is the first person to scold him when he starts talking about Neville. And then she also is the first person to speak up on behalf of Harry. And this is very early. Like, she doesn't know these people.
Yeah. It's just who she is.
And you see her very quickly bond with Lavender and them being friends. At one point, they tried to help Hermione.
Yeah.
In the bathroom and everything. But they kept saying, leave her alone. And they're like, okay, there's only so much we can do. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, they weren't mean girls. They weren't picky. Like, they're not picking on Hermione. They were trying, and Hermione just wasn't having it.
Yeah. Hermione told them to leave. So, and that's what you hear her saying.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting that could have, what would have had been different if Hermione didn't turn them away?
Yeah. Yeah.
If
like,
she instead became friends with them.
She could have easily been another complementary part of that group. I think that if they had gotten off on the right foot from the beginning, they all could have helped each other a lot.
Yeah. And then book 2, like, Lavender gets a lot of those moments of just like, she's mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
She has like a big personality, like physicality. She's, it's a lot of like, Miss Brown, can you get my wand?
Yes.
Thank you. Or like, her taking her head off she's suddenly interested when they're talking about the Chamber of Secrets.
Yes.
But once again, Pavarti is the one to speak about it. Pavarti is the one to be like, now let's keep going. What do you mean? I think it has to be dark magic you have to use to get into it. Like, what do you mean? Like,
yes. Yeah.
Let's keep talking about it. Bins, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it continues. I think it's interesting that these 2 are kind of dropped in every once in a while.
Yeah.
But they still are them, and they maintain the same reasons why they're dropped in. Whereas sometimes Ginny, we talked about this in Ginny's episode, it feels like, oh no, we forgot about her.
Yeah, she's casually mentioned, and these 2 are like, it's like a passing glance as you see them in school. It felt like they got dropped in where they were noticed by the Golden Trio.
It never feels like, oh, Lavender was here?
Yeah. No, I think that they're actually placed in very well in the series.
Yeah. Just diving deep into Pavarti, I think it's so funny. She immediately trusts Trelawney, and when Trelawney's like,
love their relationship.
It's a red-haired man. She like, run.
I love both of their relationships with Trelawney.
Yes, I think it's very cool.
It's very sweet. It feels like they get a personality because they dug into something, and even Pavarti more so because she goes into newts with divination.
Which, honestly, let's take a second. When you look at the list of like what people will accept, it can't just be acceptable.
Yeah.
Most of them need to be exceeds expectations or outstanding. And some teachers only take outstanding. In divination, I can understand a lot of people getting acceptable because you understand the concept.
Yeah.
But for her to do so well, to be able to take Newt level,
Yeah.
she had to have had some seer in her.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. I love that. I love that it starts in book 3 with the latching on to Trelawney, and you see them making all the charts and getting excited. They start having lunches with Trelawney. I like that they also have a favorite teacher.
Yeah.
Like it's it's really cool.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like you said, it gives them a lot more personality.
Mm-hmm. And in book 3, we also get her Bogart. We get to see,
which is different in the movie.
Yes.
In the books, it is a mummy, which is equally as terrifying as what it is in the movie.
I want to know where that came. Like, it's a blood-stained mummy. And I don't know if she saw, like, a really bad horror movie or like,
I think it's someone didn't do very much research and went, they probably live in the same area.
Yeah, that feels weird, right?
Much like, Cho Chang having 2 last names.
Well, yes, that...
that's what that read to me as, which is, I think, why they changed it
in the movie
to a snake.
Yeah.
Something, too, about their friendship that I enjoyed that I really, and I'll discuss this more when we talk about Hermione, because this scene made me incredibly upset.
Yes.
Is how Hermione behaves to Lavender when Lavender is mourning the loss of her pet.
Yeah.
Pavarti does not take it.
No.
From Hermione.
No.
Glares at her for being rude to her, is super protective of Lavender. And, like, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Hermione's being terrible to her. And I love that it's just a bunny. Yes, it's important to her. So Pavarti's gonna be there for her, you know, and I think that's really cool. And now we're on to book 4. Okay,
book 4.
They're still close with Trelawney, and like you said, their relationship is really fun. I love that a lot. I love that she tried to like dress up for the new schools.
I love that.
With her like big old butterfly.
When McGonagall's like, take that out, and like, but it's an ornamental butterfly in her braid.
Her be glam.
Yeah,
let her be glam.
Yes.
And here's their friendship where she's like, it sets the girls apart and are different, where she's like elbowing Lavender because Lavender is like outwardly giggling and loud.
Yes.
Whereas like Pavarti's keeping it together a bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, cut it out. But also, I get it. But like, cut it out.
Yes.
This is their biggest moment, the twins.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we talked about it from Padma's side.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about from Pavarti's side.
Mm-hmm.
But like, she truly, I don't think she was like, I have a crush on Harry.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those things that like, oh, yeah, I could have fun at a dance with you.
Yeah.
Like, this could be fun. Like, we'll see where this goes, you know? Because she's clearly very chill and excited and gets it together for the dance. And honestly, she probably saved him so much embarrassment because she like, he gets in there and he doesn't know what to do. And she like wheels him around and is really sweet and is like, make sure you get food. Like, is like being really, really great and trying to make conversations with him.
Yes.
Couple times she brings up things. I also agree wholeheartedly that Moody's eye it maybe not be allowed in schools.
Yeah.
I agree with you, ma'am.
Yeah.
She seemed to truly and was like really disappointed when he didn't want to keep dancing with her.
Yeah. Like I wrote down just how great she was for leading Harry in the dance, placing his hands for him. Like she took charge of that, which could have been intimidating, and she really saved him. And I thought that was really sweet of her.
Yeah. Though I was kind of bummed that in the movies they make it seem like she had the worst time.
No.
And she really didn't. She was bummed for a little bit. I don't think she, like I said, she was like thinking of like, I'm going to marry Harry Potter.
No.
But I think it was one of those things where she hadn't like thought about it.
Yeah.
And then when she got there, she's like, I kind of like him. Like, he's cool.
Yeah. And she also gets to be front and center. Like, she got to be led in with it. Like, she got like a moment. And I really like that. And
she's so much more calm than Harry. Harry forgets to tell them he's leaving.
Yeah.
Like, she's the one who's like, Padma, Ron, see you later. Because he's like, so just like, I don't know how to people.
Yeah.
They also don't know where Hermione's been. So she doesn't get dressed for the ball.
Yeah. In the
with
dorm.
the rest of the girls.
Yeah. Which is so sad.
Which is also, because like.
Such a bonding moment.
I could see it being like, did you need help?
Yeah. Like.
Because like Lavender canonically has curly hair too.
Yeah.
And knows how to take care of it. So like, why?
It could have been a cool moment for them to have helped Hermione get ready.
And not said anything about it?
Yeah.
Just been like, oh, you'll see.
You'll see. Yeah. And then part of that reveal, like that could have been really cool.
Yeah. Alas.
Gets to dance with the Beauxbaton boys.
Oh, yeah. Ends up with the Beauxbaton boys.
Hogsmeade.
We love that. And she's the one who actually gets a date.
Yes.
With the Beauxbaton boys.
She
she's
got
the one who
asked
gets
to
the
dance.
official.
Yeah.
To
Hogsmeade. Yeah. But she's
the one who gets the date.
She gets asked to dance in the ball by a
Yes.
Beauxbaton boy, starting that starting that like.
And she asks. She's really nice about it.
Yeah.
She asks Harry first.
Yeah.
And isn't rude about it.
Yeah.
And then when she notices that she's not paying attention, she's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't that invested. She's, you know.
It was a nice date. She got to, be a star of the show for a second. And...
Yeah. And she there's still, even with the craziness and the drama of book 5, both Lavender and Pavarti are like, yes, they may be talking about it, but they're both still very polite.
Yes.
To Harry when he's around. Regardless of what, it seems like Lavender and Pavarti may be on different sides of that spectrum, but not far enough for them to be not friends.
Yeah.
Because Lavender does not believe Harry.
Yeah.
And whereas Pavarti does to an extent because she's still at the school and she sticks up for him later and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still, even though Lavender has these concerns, it's not like Seamus where he blows up at Harry every once in a while.
Yeah.
This is a very calm, collected, being polite to him when he's around and everything. I love her joke to Umbridge too. Not to Umbridge, but just like,
yeah, the fact that she like,
yeah, I'll be
sticks
for your
up.
friend as long as I don't have to wear that cardigan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's during the speech, so like nobody hears it.
Yeah. But she does stick up.
Cracks me up.
In the class, the first class. She's like, aren't we going to have practical?
Classic Pavarti. It goes like, excuse me, I have questions.
Yeah. Isn't that going to be a practical part of our owls? Like, that's a good question. Yeah.
And she's super upset because like the first time she's going to do these things or...
Yeah.
At the practical?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sad that they gave this to Jenny because they forgot about Jenny in the movies. Like the Reducto turning the table to dust is Pavarti. It makes me really sad that they're like, oh, we forget to put Jenny in this book or in this movie at all. So we're going to give her.
We'll just give her something that Pavarti does. Like what?
Yeah. But they join like she joins the DA, like both of them are in the DA. But she does like try to comfort when Trelawney gets like on probation. And like her and Lavender are just like just as upset. Their favorite teacher is in trouble and getting fired. Like
poor thing.
Really. But when a beautiful centaur shows up to teach class, she's really excited to have a gorgeous centaur. Is what she is. Really,
who do we pick?
Yeah.
Then like her and Lavender are like getting themselves looking cute.
Yes, exactly.
Before class.
Yeah, that's really funny to me. Like it's just a fun character thing to add in there. I like that she takes her and Lavender take daffodils to Trelawney.
Yeah,
like that's there's just some really sweet stuff with Trelawney in them that makes me really happy.
Is how it's not really in the movies a whole ton. They don't really like they're not in the movies a lot.
Yeah,
especially in that one. You do see the Patil Twister sisters when it turns out to like the audience watching the scene with Sybil being thrown out of Hogwarts. You see Padma calmly watching, and Pavarti is like ready to cry.
Yeah,
like she is moving around like just. So I do love that they added that little bit that the actress rather chose to add that.
Book 6.
So
yes.
Oh my gosh, book 6. I mean, obviously she gets into the new divination.
Yes.
A little upset that it's with Trelawney instead of
with Ferenz.
But you know, we get it. But something I love about this book is that she loves Lavender, loves her best friend. But there are a couple moments in the book where like Ron and Lavender are together, and then like Harry sits by them. And she's like, a break. And like speaks to Harry and Hermione, like, how are you?
Yeah.
Like, you can tell she is also feeling the strain of her best friend being in a relationship.
Yeah, because Lavender is all in very quickly. And
he tries to help a little bit. There's a couple moments of like, oh, there he is. Like, oh, he's coming. Like, okay. You know?
Yeah. Her dealing with her friend's puppy love is very endearing.
It is very endearing. Because she's like not mad about it.
Yeah.
It just like seems like she's excited to talk to someone.
Yeah. And I have that she like chats pleasantly with Hermione and eats up the gossip about Cormac. Like Hermione uses her to get at Ron, but like she still gets to, you see her cordially talking with Hermione, which you don't get a lot in the books as much. So it's nice to remind people that they're also friends-ish.
They're people.
Yeah.
She's just like pretty standard.
Yeah.
It's just she has just those few moments of but it still like rounds out her character and it makes sense.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned before, that her getting into Newt level divination.
Yeah, that's big.
I'm impressed.
I don't believe Lavender did. It is at least not mentioned that Lavender is in Newt divination.
So
and then we have our final Lavender Brown. We've covered a lot of her, and especially the first few books.
Really, I'm going to go just to book 3 because I love that Lavender, how Pavarti like immediately is like, Trelawney.
Yeah.
Lavender takes a moment to warm up. She's very nervous to get a surprise random reading and is thrilled that she doesn't until she does.
Yeah.
And is super scared about it. But then she like slowly evolves. I also thought it was interesting that she did not know what the Grim meant.
Yeah.
Her and Dean didn't know what the Grim meant. Of course, she like jumped right on board when she found how terrifying it was.
Yeah.
It's like, she slowly convinces once Neville's cup is broken after she says that, she's sold.
Yeah. She gets in trouble in book 4 for looking at her horoscope in Moody's class. Like I think that's really
yeah. Like showing party. Yeah.
So I think there's
like,
some cute things that them having that. It might be like one defining characteristic for both of them, but it's something that you can dig into and like, this is an interest of theirs. You don't get a lot of side characters who have a very specific interest that can dig into.
And speaking of interests, it's not like explicitly said, but starting in book 3, Lavender is noticed a lot and notices a lot about creatures. She's the one who notices the hippogriffs and is so excited, and in all of them. She continues, like, she has a pet that she keeps at home. She, in later books, she's talked about with the foals, where she's so excited about the unicorn and the unicorn foals. Like, she is explicitly mentioned about that. She also is mentioned, whereas you can assume some of the students are outside, she, despite getting burnt and singed, stays outside with the blast-ended skirts, unlike some of the other students who ran inside. Yeah. There's just a lot of moments of, like, she's excited about the bow truckles, and Parvati is too. She's called out a lot more. Yeah. She seems to, at bare minimum, be a animal lover. Yes. Which is fun, because once again, you're having interests that aren't just school. Yeah. It makes them a little more well-rounded. Yeah. Which is something you don't get in the movies. In the movies, she's very much more frilly. I think she does a great job. Yeah. I think the actress does a great job at being just a sweet, love-struck girl. Something funny about the movie. Yes. And so she was hired on for that movie. Yes. Lavender was played by other characters, and suddenly when she had lines, they made her a white person. Yeah. That's a whole different beast. But the actress, when she first got on set, Rupert Grint laughs a lot. Yeah. And there's an interview with her where she's like, I guess that was normal, but like it got in the way a bit. Yeah. He's nice. Like,
Rupert Grint, get your shit together.
Right. I mean, she was like mad about it. She just was like, I guess this is normal, and it never stopped. Like nobody ever like corrected him. And then, so can you imagine how many scenes with just them? Yeah. Where it's naturally like a giggly, nervous thing to be doing with a stranger, and now you're adding on that he's just a giggly person to begin with.
Yeah, like trying to do any of the like lovey scenes would have just been
what a saint. Yep. Yeah. So I love that she still went to the dance and had a blast in book 4.
She had a date, but we don't really know who it ever was. She just mentioned that she has
Seamus.
She went to Seamus?
No, they say it.
Oh,
it says,
that's sweet.
Yeah, that's Parvati says. Yeah, nice. She's going with Seamus.
That's nice. I don't know why I missed that in my note, but good for you. Yeah, that's a good.
Which also makes sense. Seamus seems like a chill, nervous guy who's not going to like ask people outside of his group.
Yeah. I mean, at their age, like going with just a friend to a dance is a big deal. So.
Yeah. No, we love it for her. Yeah. And then obviously, then book 5 is very much the same, of just like still reminding you that both of those characters are there. Yep. And
I did like that they were practicing locomotive charms by racing pencil cases around the common room. Like, that's just a fun image.
And they like practice together. They're a good group of friends. They both are in DA. They're both working on stuff. Like it's just like really, it's just a fun friendship. And then we get into the bread and butter, the moment you were all waiting for.
Yes, book 6.
The relationship with Ron.
I will say they build into it. Book 6, she's giggly around Ron first. She has whispers around, like it.
Yeah,
they build into
Pavarti's
her.
like slowly like, okay, he's coming.
Yeah, they
build it up really well.
So I do like that. She publicly wishes Ron good luck at Keeper. Like it's inserting herself into Ron's life.
And she does a great job. Yeah. It's very subtle, and it feels very organic. Like it feels very real. Somebody with a crush. Yes. Unlike Romilda Vane, she truly likes him for him and wants to date him, which I think is exciting for Ron. I don't think he really thought of Lavender that way until she kissed him, and he's like, wait. And that's like Ron's biggest thing. Not kissing, but I mean like Ron likes to be and desperately wants to be different. Yeah. And important. Yeah. And so when Lavender comes at him that hard, he's like, yes.
It's so like
game on. Like for the beginning, he's like, yeah.
And then poor Lavender
gets tiring.
Loves so hard and so much. And I can't get over the fact she buys him a gold chain that says "My sweetheart" for Christmas.
Oh my gosh, amazing! I feel like she does what like that like really young. This is what
Yeah.
boyfriends and girlfriends do.
Yes.
Like, this is what they do. I read this out of a magazine.
Exactly.
This is what boyfriends and girlfriends do.
Yes.
And like in the movies, they need to tighten it, so she's way more annoying.
Yeah.
But in the books, she didn't read that annoying to me. She was very understandable because Ron was enjoying her, but much like Ginny in this same book, he was also in love with somebody else.
Yeah.
And like kind of was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right before they got together. So he wasn't as invested as her.
Mm-hmm.
And in the books, I think it is played off very, very well.
Yeah.
Of she's trying, she sees it happening, but doesn't totally know what's going on in his head. So she's like trying desperately to like cling to him.
Yeah.
And get him to stay with her. And he is just being like, maybe if I ignore her, she'll leave. Like,
I feel so bad for her because she's trying so hard to be a girlfriend, and she has every right to be mad when no one tells her that her boyfriend is in the hospital, when no one tells her he's like, that is so sad. Yeah. Like, she's trying so hard to be a girlfriend and have a boyfriend, and she just gets ignored and pushed aside. And she has to know that there's something between Ron and Hermione. And
because she does it a lot. Yeah. She's like, why are you with her?
Yeah.
Like, why?
She just wants demands a boyfriend, and he's just not doing it. And I feel bad for her.
Yeah, because in the books it's very understandable and very similar to it blows up a little bit bigger. Yeah. But very similar to Dean and Ginny. It's like just didn't work out. Didn't work out. It wasn't, none of them did anything super, super wrong. Yeah. I wish Ron had like actually broken up with her sooner, because I think there would have been significantly less animosity. Yeah. It didn't read to me as like too much. It read like
it read it like she was invested.
Or 16.
Yeah, she was invested. He really wasn't. It just didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and did like a natural thing of like, oh, he's leaving, I'll bring him closer.
Yeah. Very much.
You know, and never did anything like super crazy to him or anything. Yeah. She just was trying to keep him alive, like with her. So obviously it didn't make that. They're still civil. Yeah. At the end of the year.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So they didn't end up in a horrible animosity thing after. It just didn't work out. It was a very teenage romance, which I enjoyed in it. And, you know, she just didn't get treated the best because he wasn't ready for that. Yeah. So it just,
no, I mean, he enjoyed her. Like, they had fun for a bit, but that was not what he wanted to do. Yeah. Now we don't get her almost all in the last book, just that she's fighting. Yeah. There's two things about this that I have questions about. One of them is she is never declared dead.
Yeah, I have a question. I looked up
only assumed dead, because it's in the books.
Yes.
It's in the books as assumed dead. Yes. And in the movie they make it a little more like, she's dead. Yeah. Because she's not even breathing, I think, in that last moment.
Yeah, like she's attacked by Greyback.
Greyback. Mm-hmm. And she's never mentioned again. Yeah. So canonically, we are not sure she died. There is no actual canon proof that like she did not survive. Yes. So, and that's interesting to me because that has sparked a lot of stuff. That sparked a lot of like, she's dead and didn't deserve to be. Yeah. Agree. Yeah. A lot of like, where is she now? If she survived, is she a werewolf? Yeah. Like just like a lot of fandom headcanon stuff has just like swirled around Lavender. One of the big unanimous comments about that is that she deserved better. And I agree.
I agree too.
But another thing that she did deserve better about that moment is I cannot believe. So they've already like whisked away Malfoy. Yes. For like this, you know, Ron is like ready to just kill Malfoy himself. Yeah. He's like, this is the second time we've saved you and risked our butts for you tonight. Like he's like so mad. And I get that. I get that Malfoy's annoying. Like that makes sense for that moment. Yes. But for Hermione just to like flick Greyback off of her and then Trelawney comes in, which I thought was very cool. Yes. It was Hermione got Fenrir off of her. Yes. With a spell, and then Trelawney came and clocked him in the head with a crystal ball.
Oh, I love that.
But it's somebody who was really important to her, Trelawney, and then somebody who had angst prior. Yeah. But they just move on. They don't comment on it. Nobody comments on it. Yeah. Like, you're telling me that somebody you shared a room with for 6 years
gets attacked?
One of, two of you shared, and you're witnessing her being
murdered,
just mauled by a werewolf. Yeah. And you're just
gonna leave it.
He's not pointing a wand at her.
Yeah. You're just gonna leave it.
He's
gonna
mauling her. Mm-hmm. And you're not gonna. Now I understand they couldn't stop and do anything about it, but there was no, Ron didn't stop and take a moment. Ron wasn't like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And didn't need to be pulled away. Yeah. Hermione wasn't like crying on her way by. Yeah. Like You're telling me that didn't affect you at all?
It feels like
Doubt
they either
it.
would
Doubt
have
it.
stopped and tried to do something, or it would have at least been mentioned. Or
There would
one
be a
of them
comment
would
about it.
have.
There would have been.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Something. There would have been something of we just witnessed this girl we grew up with.
Yeah.
Being mauled.
Yeah.
Like Fred doesn't even get that.
Yeah.
Fred just gets a rogue spell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's...
And yes, he's more important to them. But still.
But they grew up with this girl, and Ron spent a year making out with her, so...
Yeah. Like, what the heck? Hermione lived with her.
Yeah.
Lived with her.
Yeah.
Like, shared a room with her. Like, it just, that didn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
The fact that there was no comments at all about her once they ran by. But other than that, Lavender, thank you for your service. I love that she did stay and fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives her a lot of credit, which sometimes she is shown as just like the giggly little girl. And she's still in Gryffindor.
Yeah, she chooses to stay and defend and be a part of this group. Parvati and her friendship is really great. I love having the girlfriends there. That's really cool.
It's so nice to have.
Mm-hmm. And to see them grow
honestly,
and be together and experience life together. And it's nice. Yeah. I really enjoy that part of the book that you don't really get in the movies because you don't have time.
No, you don't have time. And I understand. But I do think they did them very well.
Yes.
Of what, honestly, all of these girls that are even given chances in the movies, they are still themselves.
Yes.
So I know this has been a journey that we've busted through so many students.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
We are so excited to get through all of these ladies and cover all the different houses too.
Yes. Yes. I'm glad we got to learn a little bit about each house, and then it'll help when we're moving into the teachers and later in the season. And it's really fun because there are so many students that get moments and get backstories and get character development in the books that there's just not time in the movie. So it's really cool to learn about them and what happens to them in the books. So I'm really happy that we covered them, and we did our best to cover as many as possible, even if they just had a line. Apologies if we missed one. I did my best to write everything down as we read, but it was really great, and I'm really happy to get to know the Quidditch girls, and I wish there was a little bit more of Slytherin and things, but it's a Gryffindor main story, so what can you do?
It happens.
But thank you all for listening this episode, and join us next week for another dive into another witch.
Yes, see you then.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Damsels in Dialogue. Tune in next week as we take a dive into the sisterly bond of Lily Potter and Petunia Dursley, along with the incredible wisdom and strength of Hogwarts Transfiguration teacher Minerva McGonagall.
If you enjoyed listening today, we'd love to have you subscribe to this podcast and share with friends.
If you really enjoyed our discussion, you can find more behind-the-scenes content, a peek at our research notes, and even entire bonus episodes on Patreon. Each month, we release a full after-hours episode where we will discuss each movie adaptation and don't hold back.
You can reach us on social media. Links to all our platforms can be found in our About section. Until next time, this has been Damsels in Dialogue.
Have a nice day.
And fuck TERFs. This podcast episode is sponsored by Orchardworks. You can find them in 2 locations. Their online shop, orchardworksct.com, or their storefront at 13 Furnace Ave, Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Damsels in Dialogue is produced by Hello Out There Audio, part of Hello Out There Productions.